guy who was there and was a huge part of it is the voice of the Dodgers, Joe Davis, and he joins us now. Joe, thanks a lot for coming on, man. How are you?
Hey, boys, of course. I'm doing great. How are you guys today?
Oh, wait, we're so happy for you. Joe, is it true that was just because of schedules, that was the last game you and Oral were going to do together this year, no matter what happened, and it just happened?
Yeah.
Wow. That's divine intervention there, my friend. The baseball gods were looking out for you.
I guess so, and very selfishly, I'm sitting there thinking, because I'm already in New Orleans for my NFL game, I'm sitting there thinking, what a bummer, man. Like, it's going to happen this weekend. I'm going to miss it. There's no chance he gets a steal and 2 home runs in this game. And sure as heck, he winds up getting 3 and finishes the day 51-51. And one of the coolest things I've had happen in front of me in my career.
So, Joe, I'm wondering, whenever there are big moments and announcers rise to that moment, and you did, by the way, your calls, they're playing everywhere. Every show, they're playing Joe Davis calls. So it was brilliant work. Did you think at all in advance of what you were going to say, or are you completely in the moment?
It's a blend for me. I think that I'm just not smart enough to have the big moment happen and then – look, my job is to capture that moment, and I think to properly do that job, you got to put some thought into what the moment would mean. So I spent a lot of time thinking about who he is as a player, what he means to the sport, what this achievement would mean for his legacy and for kind of redefining things in baseball. I never try to script anything. It's more just putting together my thoughts. So then hopefully when the moment does happen, I'm kind of leaning in the right direction of being able to do the moment justice, because it's a responsibility, right? Like, that's one of the great landmark moments in regular season history, and it's a responsibility to get it right and make sure that you don't just call the home run, that you really capture what the home run means.
Oh, you did.
Yeah.
And you're great at big moments anyway. I mean, that's one of your strong suits. You and Vin have that in common. You've just been so good in all these big moments, and you completely nailed it. Joe, it made me think of when I called Kobe's last game, and it got a little surreal towards the end, kind of like your game did last night. I mean, in the 5th inning, you never would have expected that this was coming. It all happened late.
Right.
I said on the air that night, if this is like out of a movie, if I would have scripted this, nobody would have believed it. Did you kind of feel the same way that this was? I mean, you may not have another night like this, and you're a young guy. You may not have another night like this ever. I just thought it was so kind of a combination of baseball magic, Hollywood, and this international icon all at once.
100%. And the way I've put it is that if you, and it's not the first time I've made this point with Ohtani, if you were to submit this to Hollywood executives as a script, they'd say, this is stupid. It's too unbelievable. Like,
right.
Did your kid write this? Your teenager write this?
Yeah.
Like, this is fairy tale stuff. It doesn't work this way. But the fact that not only did he achieve a landmark the game has never seen, he did it with a game that even if it happened on May 19th instead of September 19th, would have been maybe the greatest single game in baseball history, regardless of what historical milestones were achieved when it comes to the 50-50. And he clinched his first ticket to the postseason, which is no small thing for Ohtani, for the Dodgers, and for the sport of baseball. All that rolled into one game. Just absolutely mind-blowing.
And the last thing I wanted to mention is if you think about and I immediately started projecting toward the postseason, and I thought about the scuffles that the Dodgers had in the first round of the playoffs last year, and I thought, yeah, but Ohtani knows how to be big in a moment. Like, no moment is too big for him. I just have the feeling he is going to have some signature moments in the postseason this year.
Man, I hope so. I hope so as the Dodger guy. I hope so as the Fox guy, because I don't think that there's anything better for baseball than to get him on the big stage and have him do the things that we as followers of the Dodgers now get to see every day.
Joe, we're just very happy for you that you and Oral got to call
Amazing
it.
work.
And by the way, I think you have the best NFL game this week. I think you have Eagles at Saints. How do you think that's going to go down? I think it's a coin flip.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. It's we're in the middle of talking with the coaches and the players as this day goes on. And how about the Saints? I think they're the biggest surprise, biggest positive surprise in the NFL. 90-some points. It's the third most in NFL history through 2 games for a team that people thought were going to struggle to get into the playoffs, and there was just kind of this malaise around the franchise. Been a while since they've been very good. And then the Eagles are 1-1, but I don't see how it's not a close game. Knock on wood. I don't want to jinx it into a crappy game, but I really think we're going to have a good one, guys.
Yeah. All right, we're with you. Joe, we know you're crazy busy. Yeah. Thank you very much for making a few minutes for us, and have a great game on Sunday.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, guys. Always good to talk to you.
All right, see you, Joe.
There's voice of the Dodgers, Joe Davis, who had a fantastic call of yesterday's remarkable game.
And what a start to this show. We just did Joe Davis, and now coming up next is Matthew Berry. So if you're a fantasy player,